Well, just thought I'd show off my old work camera before it goes away. I'm donating it to our athletics program so that they can use it for long shots on the field. They're just going to hook it up to a setup that will allow them to have a little better range than the little crappy camera they're using now. Let's see here. Power it on. Turn the bars off. There. Should be able to see. Let me get something in range here. And then I'll have to focus it a little bit. So this will give you a fairly good idea anyways. So it's got a pretty wicked zoom on it. I know it shows up like crap there on the camera, but this was a really nice machine back in the day. Got the optional second battery pack, so while you were shooting, you could pull the battery out, and then if the other battery started to die, you pull that one out, and then you're in good shape there. All the controls were easy to reach. If you felt like going into full stupid mode, you could leave it up in auto like I got now, or you could bring it down and then run everything manually, and you can reach those right through the top of the door. But generally, if it was just a run and gun, it would probably be set to auto. Wouldn't do anything else with it. You could use the front or rear inputs. It's got XLRs on the back of it so that you can hook up your microphones if you've got a wired lavalier or something like that, or wireless if that's how you wanted to roll. I usually tried to stay away from wireless stuff because back in the day, in 1999 when I was shooting with this thing, a lot of the wireless stuff was real hinky and you'd end up with equipment issues all the time. So I would just rather not mess with it. And then you've got another microphone up on the top here. This is basically the built-in mic. Now if you're going to use wireless, you could disconnect this and stick your wireless up on top. And then this uses the Betacam. Those were some huge honking tapes. And they would give you 30 minutes of record time. Yep, 30 minutes. So after your 30 minutes was up, you had to put another tape in. Which was fine because these cameras were normally used for E&G. Electronic news gathering doesn't normally require more than 30 minutes at a shot, because if you're going to roll up on a fire scene or whatever, you're not going to shoot everything on one tape anyways. It recorded time code to the tapes so that you could edit it later, although nobody uses anything like that these days from what I've seen. Everybody seems to pretty much do free run editing. And I'll put that back on bars. But everything could go either automatic, or you could knock everything out and go full manual on it. This was like the best of the both worlds. You could dumb this camera down to the point where a dolphin could shoot with it, or you could go everything full manual on it. It was a really great machine. The only downside is there's no video output on this thing. So if you're in the field and you want to use a monitor, like if you connect to this, that's black and white, which sucks. So if you wanted to see what your color output was like, you had to have this umbilical cord here, which went to this box here. See if I can show the front of this box, which doesn't look like much for, I think it was like $1,300 for this crazy box. Now that box would allow you to break your signals out. So you could go with the non-pro connections, like the RCA that I'm using right now, or you could go with the Pro B and C. There's no real difference in between the two signals here. It's just a different kind of connection. You could go with a higher grade signal, which would be the S video out. And this is basically just for playing back. That's it. That's all that this box was really good for. If you were editing, you weren't going to be using this setup anyways. You would use a dedicated deck, which would cost you another $8 grand. So by the time you were done, you were a lot of money into something that is nowhere near as good as the little DV cameras that you have now. It's amazing how far the technology's gone. To give you an example of a little digital camera now, here's a little JVC. I'm having trouble with both of these guys. So you can see this little JVC unit, and this is from a couple years ago. But I mean, it would pretty much do as well as this camera does. I mean, with the exception of your audio and then the lens. I mean, the lens is killer. If you could get that lens on a camera that small, that would be amazing. Because that's usually what separates the men from the boys. Is these lenses, the big glass, can just way outdo pretty much anything that the consumer cameras will do these days. But that's it. That's the camera that I used to use for work. And it's now going to go off to a happier life. They'll be using it just for web broadcasting, basically. So I don't think the tape transport won't ever get used again. They'll just connect this unit up and use it to shoot with on this big monster O'Connor sticks. And that's it.